Hello friends, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox, and today I'm presenting a Copic colored die cuts using the Honeybee Layer Amaryllis. So I thought it would be fun to use the Copic markers to add depth and dimension to the blooms on this Amaryllis die. So here is the Honeybee die. I love this thing. It's got all kinds of layers and just really a lot of texture to it, as you can see. It's really a pretty die. And this is the Heart Be Light stamp set. Again, great holiday sentiments with the coordinating die set that cuts them all out. And I love the way it cuts them out. Here is the Pink Fresh Nested Arch Hot Foil plates and the coordinating die, and I'll be using both of these today. So I started by foiling the largest arch. So I'm using Aura foil from Spellbinders. So again, I'm making sure that I get it all straightened out here. And then we'll go ahead and heat it up. After it's heated, that's when I pull it from the machine, add my paper and the plates, and run it through my die cut machine. So you can see here how beautiful this foil is. I love the rainbow and the gold that kind of shows up. And again, it's Aura foil, and it's really very pretty. So I'll move on to the blooms. I've die cut them with just Cougar cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the Copic marker R37 and color in the blooms. You'll see that when I started, I had like stripes on the pieces, but I decided I didn't like that. So I went back and, again, using the chiseled edge of the marker, I went ahead and just colored over all of the lines that I had drawn on there. So again, I was trying something different, and you can always change your mind, right? So again, I'm just kind of coloring away here, making sure that, again, I've got all of the base exposed pieces covered. That's kind of important, is to make sure that you've got the base pieces covered. So again, we'll go ahead and show you how when you lay them on there, it adds a lot of dimension. So I'm using now R89, and I'm just flicking it in the bases of the different petals. And again, I'm kind of adding some dimension and some texture here is really what I was going for. So again, we're just kind of adding, darker flicks here at the bases of all of these petals, which when I put them together, you'll see how great it looks. So I'm just using my tweezers to hold onto the pieces so I can color them. And here I am, just again, still adding the darker color. So I love the way these two colors kind of melded together, and just really added that additional texture onto these petals. So next I grab my Nuvo glue, and I'm just going to now assemble all of the two blooms that I'm using on this particular card. So just kind of making sure that they're lined up there. Keep working, layer by layer, getting them on there. So that's the piece, and obviously the stamens and then part of those leaves will be covered, so I wasn't worried about it. So now I pulled the stamens piece here, and we'll go ahead and add that on there. And you can see up there at the top right, there are little craft colored beans. Those are actually the tips of the stamen that I will add on here in a little while. So we'll go ahead and see where these other petals go. And I decided I probably needed to fill in that middle part just to be sure that I had good coverage. So now I'm back to the additional petals, adding them on there. And just again using the Nuvo glue. So the next thing I did was I grabbed YR14. I wanted to add a little bit of depth to the base of the stamens. Again, just, again, for depth and dimension. And then I'm grabbed G46 and I'm adding details onto the green cardstock leaves. So the only part of the bloom that was done with white cardstock is actually the blooms, not the leaves or the additional parts. So again, I'm just kind of adding some detail, adding some depth there at the base of the leaves. And then, of course, I decided I had to go back and add some more of the R89. I wasn't quite happy with the way it looked, and just felt like I needed more, more depth. So obviously, you have to be careful when you're drawing around the stamen pieces. You don't want to get the yellow pieces colored. So once I'm happy with that, I decided I needed to do the edges, because these flowers have so many layers on them, and because the cardstock is white, what you do is you just grab the brush tip with the lightest colors and just run it around the perimeter, around the edges of the bloom, to make sure that the white pieces are all covered and you don't see those. Just kind of still adding the color here, making sure that I've got them well colored. And I'm just about done here. So I'm happy with the pieces now. So let's go ahead and put it together. So the first thing I did was I glued the bulbs together, and I'm using 2 bulbs on this. And then we'll go ahead and attach them. You'll see that I started with a dark red pot. And then towards the end, I changed my mind. I didn't like the color of this one. So, but anyway, so we'll go ahead and build the base with it. Grabbing the leaves here, get the leaves in, and the bulbs. So I was silly, and the first thing I did was I decided to add glue to the back of the bulb, and then I realized, no, it needs to be on the front because that's what attaches. And then I made the same mistake again. Had to turn around and move the glue. So, oh well. It's silly how we do this. So then I put the leaves in and added the blooms, and you can see here is where I'm going to go ahead and add a green color pot. I decided to change my color again. I've got it mounted ultimately on kind of a deep red rust type of base. And so the dark burgundy base just didn't work for me. So again, once I've got that all ready to roll, then we'll go ahead and I'm going to put it on that foiled arch. So I really do like that. I think that's really cool. And then I just needed to choose a color for the base. I cut out I used one of the large die cuts that came with the set and went ahead and cut it out. Next I'm on to gold embossing the sentiment. So I selected a sentiment. I've got a piece of scrap white paper, went ahead and used gold embossing on it. And now I'm just trying to choose the die, picked it out first time. So again, I've got that cut. And then that's kind of how it all rolls. And then I decided to put it on this deep rust color background. So again, I'm using the Tombow Mono adhesive. This is a runner, works really well. So we'll go ahead and attach that rust color to that A2 card. And then we'll go ahead and attach the oval in the center, making sure it's lined up well. And then I'm just going to pull out my Nuvo glue again and go ahead and just glue the background of all the blooms, making sure I've got it well covered. And then we'll go ahead and attach that little sentiment and we'll be all ready to rock and roll. So love this. Again, it's the Honeybee Layered Amaryllis die. Thought it was really, really fun to play with. So again, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox. I'm on YouTube, Blogger, Facebook, and Instagram.